And good evening, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in for today's webinar. That is UC 2021 exam strategy. Um, Thanks for joining in. We're very happy that you could make it. And how are you guys feeling with UCEED in next week? There's just about 7 days, less than 7 days to go. So, how are you guys feeling? Yeah, you can type out what you're feeling. Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling nervous? Are you apprehensive? Are you unsure of what to expect, or are you confident of what to expect? Are you confident of different options? Are you confident that if there are variations to the exam, if there are issues in the exam, are you confident that you will be able to handle it? Right. So there are a whole range of emotions that you could go through. Now, basically, what I need to understand from all of you is what y'all are expecting out of this particular webinar. So if you have some questions, please type it in right away. Um, but we would be happy to have those questions. So if we have the questions in advance, we would be able to address these, um, through the presentation. So also in the meantime, please click on the like button and so that we know that you are enjoying this webinar. And just in case you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe right away. So namaskara, Daniel. Right. So the agenda for today is you've asked a good question. What is the agenda for today? So what happens is, with UC just a week away, now there are a lot of things that you need to plan for and prepare for. All right. One is before the exam, that is right away. You will have um, what to prepare for, how to prepare for, and how to plan for the exam. And then the second part would be during the exam, how you need to attempt the exam, what's it going to be like, um, what if things do not work out in your favor, how do you handle that? All right, so that's the agenda for today. um, right. Right. Confident and relaxed. Are there any methods of doing good in MSQs? All right. Time management, very important. Can you tell tips for last days? Of course. MSQs. Keep it short and to the point. Okay, Daniel. Um, we'll try and do that. Will there be GK questions this year? I'm asking because last year there were no GK questions. Krish Ghosh. Yes, we will take that as well. Um, right. Just one second. So let me. Right. So that's good. So yes, they should. The problem with GK questions is you can't really predict what is going to come and what is not going to come. So in the question paper, but you need to be prepared for it either way. All right. Just a second. All right. What is a good score? About time management, Loki Lokesh, yes, time management is very important. Um, all right. So, one question: do all of you? I'm sure most of you here would have access to DQ Edge, but how many of y'all do not have access to DQ Edge? All right. Umesh, are you there? Yeah.
Yes, Dion.
Yeah. So Umesh, just a few questions while Sean is joining in
Yeah,
now,
sure.
but just a few questions that people have here. All
Okay,
right.
Dion, I'm here. I
Oh,
think I was trying to talk. I guess you could not hear me. Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yeah, we
You're
could.
on.
I'm ready to start. I can answer the questions and then Umesh can continue later.
All
All
right,
right.
great, awesome.
So we are going
Go
about
ahead.
this in two halves, and I will be covering one part of it, and Umesh also is part of this call, and he will be taking part in the questions. 1 minute. Let me share my screen. Mm, Dion, can you enable my screen sharing, please?
Enable. Just check.
Yeah. Okay. Just see if I can share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Sean. Go ahead.
Okay. Fine. Great. Just give me a minute. Yes. So I saw some of your questions out there. We will answer all your questions. Let's quickly go through what we have here for the presentation and uh, a last minute the strategy you should have in your exam, how you can manage your time and how you can go about things. Okay, so first of all, very important, go through the sample practice link on the UCEED IITB website. That's the first and the most important thing you should do. Why? To get a to get familiar with the interface. Okay, so do not go to the exam without um going through this interface. So this interface is given to you here. So how you can get that? You can go to the official UCEED website, right? Um, and it has been given there. Can you see this? It was released on Jan 6th. Sample practice link. Okay, so you can click here at the bottom. Yeah, and you'll get the sign in. It's extremely important that you understand these points. Like one, you can see these little icons here. What do they represent? You have not visited the question yet. You have not answered the question. You have answered the question. You have not answered the question but marked for review. And this is answered and marked for review. Now it's very important that you understand the difference between 4 and 5, because if it is 5 and you've marked it for review, and if the time is over, you will get marks for that. Okay, but if it is 4, you will not get marks for that. Um, um, so keep that in mind, very important. So please ensure that you go through this interface before all of you. There are some questions here that are repeated. So sometimes when you go through this interface, you'll get confused because the questions are repeated, but it's not basically meant to for the questions, but it is meant for whether you understand the interface. That's the purpose of this test. So don't get confused with these questions getting repeated. Also, how you can toggle here between NAT, MCQ, and MSQ and MCQ, section 1, 2, and 3. And also the marks are given here. Can you see to the top, this top right side? So marks for a correct answer and negative marks is all given out here. Marks for a correct answer and negative marks. Okay. So go through this interface and get familiar with it. Okay. Also, there's that downloads information brochure. So make sure that you go there, and once again, you can go to this website. You can go to this download section. So the information brochure is here. So anything that you've kind of you want to check last minute, whatever details you want are here in this information brochure. So very important, make sure that you familiar yourself with the interface, as well as check any critical information on the interface on the information brochure. Um, um, yeah, if you go through that, it'll be helpful. Okay, so your total paper is out of the 300 marks, which is for 3 hours. These are the basics. Part A, 240 marks, which you can answer in 2 hours and 30 minutes, and Part B, 60 marks, which you can answer in 30 minutes. And you cannot, this is the marking scheme, Shaunak Gokhale. Um, this is the marking scheme for this year. So some students ask me, if you finish part A fast, can you start off with part B? No, you cannot. So you have to wait for the full 2 hours, 30 minutes to get over, and everybody starts part B at the same time. Now let's understand this slide. This slide is a very important slide. So what is your strength? Is your strength part A? Is your strength part B? Or are you good in both? Okay, so are you good in both? Yes, obviously that's a very good case. But I've taken two cases of students last year where one student was very strong in part B and the other student was very strong in part A. So you can see the marks on the screen. So so the in the first student's case, right? So the student, if you can see the third line, the total marks was 192 for the one student, and the total marks was 167 for the other student, both out of 300, and both have got into IITs, either an IIT Bombay, IIT Guwahati, whatever it may be. So somebody asked this question: what are the marks you need to get into Daniel? I think Daniel asked. No, who asked this question? I do not know. Somebody asked the question: what is a good score? Jayita Kole. So what is a good score? So this gives you an idea on the range for last year, okay, of students who got it. Now let's just understand this carefully. Well, Pulkit, cutoff is not based. There is a basic cutoff for marks for which you will not get a qualifying rank itself. That is there, but it's not a question. You need to be IIT Bombay. You need to be at least above rank. You need to be close to rank 25. Okay, Pulkit, your overall rank should be close to rank 25 if you want to get a chance into IIT Bombay. And if you want to get into IIT Guwahati, your rank should be, I'm talking about general merit, rank should be close, in both cases, should be close to 80 or less. Okay. Okay, Ayushi, we will cover that question later on. So coming back to this, so in both these cases, so the first student got 55 out of 60 in part B. Can you see that? So that shows that, so that means in your part B, right? Your part B section, which is, you can score really well. So you can almost get 92% of the part B section. So we'll take case A where the student got part A 137 out of 240, part B 55 out of 60. So part A 137 is 57% of the whole section, okay, of the 240 marks, 57% of 240 marks, okay, not out of 300. And part B is 55 out of 60 is 92% of the part B section. The point I'm trying to make here is part B is a good scoring section. Okay, so if your strength is drawing, you can really do well there. And this is not just one student. I know a lot of students who have got at least 50. A few students got 50 and done pretty well in part B. And the good thing about part B is there's no question that you can say, oh, I do not know the answer to this. You can draw something, you can draw anything. And I have covered extensively in another webinar earlier as to what all you can do and how best you can improve your marks for part B. Okay, so even now, so that means in part A, even if you get up to 60%, right, or close to 57% or 60% of that section, you can still be under rank 10. Okay, just to make you understand. I hope all of you all have understood this part. Now, going to the other extreme case where you can still get your rank can still be under 70 and you can still get a seat in IIT Guwahati. A student has, got 12 in part B out of 60. That is just 20% of that section. But the part A score was on the higher side. So 155, that means 155 or 155, 160, 170 is a very good score for the part A section. So as of this case, a student got 155 in part A and 12 in part B, and the total marks was 167 out of 300, and still managed to get a rank under 70 and get into IIT Guwahati. So I hope this gives you some basic idea on how much marks plus or minus range you can score in part A and part B, which will help you to still get a rank under 70. Okay. So now let's come under your come. Let's look at a strategy for part A. Okay. So part A, your numerical answer type questions has 80 questions for 4 marks, which is a total of 72 marks, or it's basically 30% of your 240 marks. MSQ multiple select has got 18 questions of 4 marks each. Your sorry, the last one is not MSQ. The last one should be MCQ. Okay. And MCQ has got 32 questions of 3 marks each, which is a total of 96 marks, or 40% of your total 240 marks, total part A. Out of which MSQ and MCQ has negative marking, and NAT does not have negative marking. So now, overall, I've spoken to a couple of students who have done well, and and generally, what students find, especially from the toppers, that yeah, you can start off with MCQ, because yes, I know MCQ has negative marking, but there are 4 questions, and you know that one of them is right. So your chances of being a little more confident in MCQ is much better. So MCQ is something that you can start off with. At least this is what some of the toppers have suggested. So these are suggestions. You can follow your own strategy. And also, I've spoken to a couple of toppers, and they say NAT takes a little more time because you've got to sit and count or calculate an answer, and it takes more time. So after MCQ, you can jump to MSQs next, but be careful. MSQ is also a bit of a tough section. You can just quickly answer the questions that you know, or the questions that you feel you're right, and then you can jump to NAT. Okay. But it's up to your comfort level which one you choose between NAT and MSQ to go second. Some students have preferred to do NAT second and MCQ third, but either ways, a lot of students prefer to do MCQ first. So that's a suggestion. You can start off with the MCQ first, and between MSQ and NAT, you can go on what your strength is or what you feel is better. Okay. So overall, you have 68 questions. So if you roughly, from a time management point of view, if you roughly break down the 2 hours and 30 minutes that you have, or 150 minutes for 68 questions, you have approximately about 2 minutes 12 seconds per question, or about 132 seconds per question. Okay. Okay. So you have about 132 seconds per question. Now, this is an average. Now, it doesn't mean that you will actually spend 132 seconds per question, because some are GK questions or knowledge-based questions. It's like either you know it or you do not know it. So literally, some questions you can answer in maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds max, which will give you some extra bonus time for the other questions. So this is an average. Obviously, your GK type and knowledge-based questions will take much less time. Either you know it or you do not know it, and the counting and the calculation type questions will take much longer. So there are past year's papers. Obviously, you can go through them and see what kind of a strategy works for you. But these are some insights as to what's the average time per question, and how you can go about things. Okay, so um, so a couple of questions on drawing, like Pulkit Kishore says, how do they judge in part B? Okay, we will take that question. uh, 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 Abhilash Datta, it's percentage in the previous panel. I hope you can just, this seminar will be recorded. You can go through that. What is it that you specifically did not understand? You can ask me. Okay, so when it comes to part B, okay, um, I have covered a webinar on the past in very much detail for part B. So you can see this on the screen. Um, um, you can you can type this. You can go through our DQ Labs channel and go through this webinar. It tells you, I've explained in detail how to handle sketchings and UCEED, because that itself was almost a 3-hour topic by itself, in which I had a part A and part B. And Dion, um, could you paste this link on the chat, Dion? Yeah. You see, I'll paste it. Okay, there you go. You can, I've pasted the link there on the chat for this section, in which you can go and see in detail how to handle, what are the different topics. And also, very important, we covered a topic in the past, tips from NID and UC toppers. So all DQ Lab students who did really well in 2020, some of them came and spoke. So that's another topic you can go and paste out there and watch in detail all the students talking about their individual tips. So you can go through that and you can understand better. So go through those 2 videos. That is this video as well. Tips from students who have done well. So again, it's a long video and you can go through it in detail. Okay. So coming back to this, a quick recap. Yeah. So also what was suggested by some students in terms of time management, I'm talking now specifically for part A. What you can do is do a quick run. So run through all the questions, run through the sections that you're good at. Have a quick run for 30 to 60 seconds. Like, say, for example, let's say you're starting off with MCQ. Don't spend more than 30 seconds to 60 seconds per question. You're not getting it, go to the next question. Okay, just go through all the questions. First, answer confidently the questions that you know, or the questions that you think you know. Okay, even though, like I mentioned in the previous slide, you have on an average, this is an average, 132 seconds per question. But be careful, it's just an average, because the GK questions or knowledge-based questions take much less time, whereas the counting or calculation type questions take much longer. So have a quick run through, come back for the second run. By the time you would have marked some questions as marked for review or answered and marked for review, you can come back and do those on the second run. And last, if you have more time, you can do the other questions. If you finish these, you can answer questions that you have totally left out with. Okay, so do not try and guess anything, especially for MSQ, because MSQ, the chances of getting something wrong is quite high. MCQ, if you know for a fact it's between 2 questions, between 2 answers, say you think it's either B or C, you can take a chance and you can guess for MCQ. Okay, and NAT, obviously there's no negative marking, so you can go ahead and answer all the questions for NAT. Now, Soham Sen Gupta has asked a question. Soham, will they ask only one question for part B? Well, Soham, they can ask just one question, but The question can also come in two parts. Like, for example, in the past, NID, like if you see, um, NID has asked a question, I think 2018, in which the question came, it was one question, but it came as part A and part B. Yes, this is the question. Um, that was 2018. Okay, a short circuit in a building, and there was a mother and two children trying to escape the building. So part A was how do you save the mother, and part B was how do you save the children. So they can even have sub questions within the part. Okay, Soham, they can have one question, part A, part B, or they can have two questions as well. But the point is, it's open. It can have two questions in there. So I would say be ready for more than one question. Okay, but so whether there's one question or two questions or in two parts, all the students have the same amount of time. So you have equal advantage or disadvantage for both. Okay. Now, so coming back to this webinar, so I will quickly go through part B. Of course, but keep in mind, part A has basic minimum marks as well. So there is basic minimum marks for NAT, for MSQ, for MCQ, and overall also there are basic minimum marks. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. And even there is a minimum mark uh, uh, for uh, for drawing. So what are the minimum marks? I can quickly tell you. For the general merit for NAT, the minimum marks was 7.2. MSQ was 7.2 and MCQ was 9.6. But even though, now keep this in mind, even though the minimum qualifying marks was, if you add these two, let me just write this down here for you. This is as per last year, the minimum qualifying marks. Yeah, I'm talking about general merit. Okay, I'm not talking about um, um, the quotas. I'll explain that. So you had 7.20 was minimum for NAT, 7.20 was minimum marks for MSQ, and you had 9.60. Okay, but even though, keep in mind, if you add these three, it comes to a total of 24 marks. But overall, in part B, you had to get a minimum, in part A, sorry, in part A, you had to get a minimum of 80 to qualify, okay, to get a UCEED rank. So that means as long as you cross these lines, you still need to get your minimum of 80 marks for part A. And for part B, the minimum mark was 6. Okay, 6 out of 60. Okay, so just there to give you for you to get an idea. So it should not be a problem to get the minimum marks, but that yeah, part A to get that, you have to get that 80, and part B 6 to at least get a UCEED rank. Okay, so quickly let's go to part B of the slide. Like I said, now I have covered this once again. I had covered this extensively in this topic. So those who go through this, for you to get a detailed understanding of the different drawing. But just a quick recap. um, they're looking for your basic skills, your overall thinking outcome, and most importantly, you have to finish it in the given time. You need to optimize. They're testing you for your basic art skills, creative thinking skills, design problem solving skills, and graphic skills. Okay. So I've also put a question there, aptitude in drawing. So there was one question in NID which said the same question which I was referring to. people are escaping from the building, and you have a rope of a certain length, you have a ladder, and you have a scooter, say ladder of 6 feet, rope of 12 feet, or whatever. There's a certain defined measurement for that. So you have to also use a little bit of constraints there when you're solving the question. So it's the same question that I'm talking about, the 2018 question. It says a 5-foot ladder and a 12-foot rope. So sort of a bit of aptitude there also when you're kind of drawing it. But of course, you can come out with a lot of creative solutions for that as well. And these are the different points that they discuss with your, they look for in your basic skills. I'm not going to go through all the details. And these are the different points they look for in your overall thinking outcome. Okay, like I said, once again, I'm not going to go through all the details here because I have already covered it extensively in a webinar in the past. So, um, um, so any questions okay, so let me just go straight to the questions that you all have typed in. Uh, okay, fine. Any questions that I missed out on? That is basically relevant to this. I don't think so. Okay, so that's about it. Um, Umesh, would you like to take over? Umesh?
Yes, Sean. Yes. All right. So let me share my screen. But I have a question for all the participants here. How many of you are very clear in terms of what you need to do next after this seminar to improve your score tremendously? All those who know what they need to do, like what topic they need to do, what subject they need to focus on. If you know what it is, can you just type in the topic that you should be focusing on in the chat window? Did you understand my question? Okay, let me just check the responses. Okay, so my question to all of you is, do you know what subject matter you should be studying next to improve your score or stop losing your score? Da Vinci is saying sketching. Daniel, it's about giving mocks, revise my notes, stay calm. Okay, human figures and MSQ, not drawing, sketching. Soham Sen Gupta is saying VSA, very specific. Yes, that is the clarity I'm looking at. I mean, each one of you should be having a very clear objective. What is that particular topic you should be focusing on to improve your score? Does each one of you have that clarity? Kyle Acharya, for Acharya, it is accounting, mechanical reasoning, and Indian art history. Okay. Nayan, geometry questions and sketching. Okay, when you say sketching as well, you need to know where exactly you should be focusing on, because if you look at sketching, there are so many topics that you can focus on, but you got to understand which is the area of your weakness, which you need to definitely fix it to improve your score. Do you have that clarity? Okay. Dheeraj is saying patterns and score 3D figure problems.
Umesh?
Solid fonts. Yes, Dion. Sean.
Sorry, just before you continue, some
Yeah.
student had answered, can you show some sketches which are of good quality?
Yeah.
So if you can see on the screen, some students are saying, so from what we have corrected in the past and seen students doing well, say if you come up with a quality of sketch like this in terms of detailing.
Okay. So are you sharing your screen? Would you like to share your screen or you want me to show?
Oh, you're sharing the screen, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, share the screen, please.
Yeah, you can share your screen now. Yes.
Okay, so Just to show you, can you see the sketch here? Can you see the sketch on the screen?
Not now.
Tell me when.
I don't think you have shared the screen. Your sharing screen option is not available.
Okay, you go ahead,
Now,
Umesh.
yes, yeah. Sean, now we can see your screen.
Okay, so in my opinion, I've corrected a lot of sketches in the past. I've seen students who do well, or can tend to do well, and I can immediately look at the quality of the sketch and see how well prepared they are. So, in my opinion, a sketch like this is pretty good, and a student like this has got a very high chance of getting good marks. So, what are the different criteria? And look, at this is perspective is good, the sketch is interesting, human scale proportions are good, there's enough of detail, the eye level is correct, the detailing, the all the information put in here is a very good sketch. In my opinion, if a sketch like this is of a very good standard, this has got and basically, like I said, time management, it's what you can do in half an hour. Of course, given more time, you can do a lot more, but a sketch like this is very close to a 50, just to show you a quality of a sketch. Yeah, sorry, Umesh, please go on.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Sean. So students have started to answer the area in terms of sketching where they need to focus on. For example, Nayan Anu is saying anatomy, light and shadow. Anurag and Mahima are saying line quality. Yes. So if you have identified the areas where you need to focus on, that is pretty good. Okay. Focus on those areas. If you do not know where to start or what to focus, etc. Okay, so I would recommend you to get on to DQ Edge, because I'm going to show you, okay, few insights in terms of what you should be doing next. Now I am in my panel, so I'm in my NID UCEED course. So I'll switch to student insights. Okay.
Umesh, we cannot see your screen. We
You
cannot
cannot
see
see
your
my
screen.
screen?
No.
Okay, you're sharing your screen.
Okay, I'm out.
All right. I hope you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, can see.
Yes. Okay. So let us go to take test. So me as a student. Now this is one of the very important, crucial dashboard. Okay, if you are able to see my screen, you can see my suggestions. All right. Now this is like a beacon for you guys, like what you call a lighthouse, right? So you're in the middle of the ocean, you don't know where to go, you need to reach your destination, and this is the lighthouse which is giving you direction in terms of what topics you should be studying next to improve your score. All right. So right. Okay. So this is how do you populate? Basically, once you start using the system, these questions will be populated. Yes, there are certain free sets available. For example, set one is free. Like similarly, if you go to past year papers, certain past year papers are free. Certain modules of 805 past year questions are free. Okay, you can go through them. All right. Now, this is very, very crucial. If you do not know, or if you are confused, or if you are petrified, somebody was saying that they are petrified, right? So take it easy, log on to Edge, take a free mock test, or maybe a free 501 questions module. Once you do that, the suggestions will be populated over here. And those suggestions, if you follow and study them nicely, do a thorough research and study them and say, Mark has studied. Okay, and then the next topic will be shown to you. Now you clear all of this before you do anything else, like doing a new mock test or or a test paper or etc. So what happens is now you have only 7 days time left. Okay, you cannot go into a mode where you can write from scratch, you learn one topic after the other thoroughly, and that strategy doesn't work now. What works now is to identify where your weaknesses are, and ensure, number one, ensure that if that kind of a question comes in the exam, okay, either skip it, or if you're trying to answer it, be cautious and aware that you have problems with this question, right? Because you have made some certain errors and you got the question wrong. Why is it important? Because you see it has negative marking. I had seen some people in the past whose score has ended up in minus marks, unfortunately, because they did not plan what to answer, what not to answer. They just answered every question and ended up having a negative marking. All right. So you got to be very careful in terms of what to answer and what not to answer. There is a tip on that as well. But what topic you need to study, please come over here and get your own suggestions. Now, these are my suggestions. When you come onto this dashboard, when you don't have any suggestions, as I told you, answer one of the question sets, and this suggestions will be populated. So those will be very, very unique for you. All right, that's number one. Now, when you do a mock test, okay, so let me showcase you. Okay, I don't have any mock tests done here, but let me go to one of the students. Okay, and I'll show you their mock test and what they have done, because that will be a very good learning point for all of you. So let us check. Okay, so my favorite student is Nidhi, so I always go to her, uh, her marks or her performance. Or let us see. All right, so let us take one of her mock tests. Okay, now Nidhi is last year 2020, 2029, 2020 student who got great marks in UCEED and also NID. Right, she has finally taken her admission in NID. Let me just go through her UCEED paper.
And Umesh, just to add,
Yeah.
in that talk which I sent the link on last year's UCEED
Yes.
Papers, she's also talking there. So,
Yeah.
in that, okay.
So, guys, please go through those videos where we have done extensive uh, documentation of what students have done, how they have learned. All right. Okay. That is also very helpful. I'm just looking for a UCEED mock test uh, done by Nidhi. Okay, there are so many mock test quizzes. She has done a thorough job in going through all of these. Okay, UCEED. All right. So UCEED 2016, she has scored 204 out of 300. So you get this kind of an activity dashboard with you as well in your profile. So when you click on that, you can actually go to that particular mock test and see your performance. Okay. So for her, she has got 204 out of 300. Her true score is 222, meaning that if she had taken special measures of not answering questions, certain questions, she would have gained 18 marks. So currently she has lost 18 marks, right? Okay. So yeah, so after you take a test, now this is the segregation that you get, right? Danger topics, scoring topics, and master topics. So you should be focusing on the danger topics, because the definition of a danger topic is that you have arrived at an answer choice using either a knowledge or a formula. You found the answer, but unfortunately, that answer choice was wrong. That means that either you are carrying a wrong understanding, or you have used a wrong formula or a method to solve the problem, and you fell for the trap or set by the examiner, and you picked a wrong choice. So what you have to do is you have to immediately go into this topic, counting shapes and patterns. first of all, before going to the topic, you need to analyze the question that you got wrong and see why you got wrong. Right? What is the error that you have made? The error could be like a simple counting error. This is a counting of shapes and patterns. So you would have missed counting certain shapes, okay, or maybe you have counted twice a particular shape. So which methodology? Where did you make a mistake? That you need to be very aware about. Once you are aware of that, it is in your mind and similar question comes in the exam, you'll be super cautious about answering that question. Okay, so this is one thing, guys. If you have not done it till this point, please do it. 7 days is valuable time. Okay, you put in 10 hours on DQH, go through all the past year questions. Even if you have gone through past year questions before, that's okay. Redo it, let it be a revision for you. Then go through the mock test and then the 501 questions. And please give due attention to the danger topics. Okay, it also shows you like, okay, how many marks you can gain if you get this topic thoroughly. And it also shows how many you have answered through knowledge and how many you have answered through elimination. Okay, this is number one. Now, my second question for you is, do you know when you are taking the exam, what questions to answer first and what questions to not to answer? Okay, I always like this analogy of taking a cricket match, right? So every ball that is thrown at you is like a question that is thrown at you. Okay, you have the option of either playing the ball, like playing the question, or leaving the ball, leaving the question. Do you guys know which questions you need to answer and which questions you need to not answer? Do you guys know that? Uh, do you have clarity in that? If you have clarity, then I would want to know at least 2 or 3 topics you would skip answering, because there is a higher probability of you getting that question wrong. So Abhilash is saying, I avoid MSQ if I'm not sure. That is fine. I'm not talking about the question type. I'm talking about the content. Okay, I'm talking about the content. Like, can you answer counting and shapes or patterns first? If you get a question on rotation, can you answer that? If you get a question on pendulums, can you answer that? Right? So Daniel knows typography question he needs to skip. Okay. Art history, Da Vinci says art history you need to skip. Okay, great. Awesome. So Bhavya, mensuration and typography. Yes. Now, there is a little feature on DQ Edge. If you are using DQ Edge thoroughly, okay, for every mock test, it will give you certain kind of information at the end of the mock test. Okay, it's in the analysis page. So if you scroll down further on this page, now you can say attempt strategy insights. Okay, these are set 3 insights, right? So here you can see certain topics in green and certain topics in red and certain topics in orange. Okay, so if you're using DQH, I would want you to log on to DQH and go to any of the past year papers that you have attempted, or if you're going to attempt going forward. Okay, in the analysis page, after you take the mock test, scroll down to see the set 3 analytics. Okay, there you would find, give due attention to the topics that are all in red in color. Now, these are again the danger topics. If you get, for example, this analysis is for Nidhi, right? Now, if Nidhi gets a topic on font families or completion of series, odd one out, number of fonts, logical sequence stability, jigsaw puzzle, she has to be super cautious. She can skip the question for now, answer all the rest of the questions, and she can come back and answer these questions, the topics in red in color, because for her, these are the topics where she had made unknown mistakes and she got negative marking. All right. So this kind of a clarity you should be having before you go to the exam, so that when you have this kind of a clarity, what happens is you know that, I mean, you can be cool because you know what kind of questions you need to answer, what kind of questions you need to leave. All right. So Yes, the list of topics are huge here, but what happens is the moment you start looking at them, your subconscious mind kind of makes some kind of impression and tells you. Let us say there is a question on artist styles. Immediately, your subconscious mind will say, "Hey, this you got to be careful about." Okay, right. That is the second tip. Okay, and the third tip for the sketching questions. Okay, you can only do some only a few things, right? Okay, because you only have 7 days, 7 into let's say 10 hours you're working in a day, that 70 hours is what you have. You don't have much more than that. But how you can make use of the time to improve your sketching skills? Okay, yeah, sketching skills are improved by number one, practicing sketching. Number two, by taking feedback on your sketchings. Okay, and there is a third way also which you can improve on is by becoming sensitive to the mistakes other guys are doing. Okay, so that's a very cool way of also learning. Okay, so if you look at other students' works and if you're able to identify what kind of mistakes that they are doing, again, you are training your subconscious mind saying that, okay, this kind of a mistake you better not do. Or if you look at a great drawing of some other student, then you can your subconscious mind says, oh, okay, I could probably do in this way. So you're training your subconscious mind, right? So how you can do that is, again, you can come on to DQ Edge. Okay, so go to any of the past year papers. Let me see if I have access. Okay, let's say past year paper, any paper, all right. So go to the drawing section. I highly recommend you to answer these questions and upload so that you can see the works of other students. Now, this I have uploaded. I have uploaded a sketch of mine. So then you can see all the sketches done by the other students. Now, you spend a good amount of time over here trying to go through them and understand how they have done. And if you find any sketch to be not so, if there is a problem with the sketch, like for example, you see the sketch, there's a problem with the sketch, right? So go there and understand what the problem is, what mistakes they have done. Okay, and that gives you a great understanding of how you can avoid those mistakes. Okay, for example, in this particular perspective, you see the frame. I think this is a frame that she has drawn. All right, so this frame, okay, so this particular height line, okay, is going wrong. So this particular area is looking terribly out of perspective, right? So you can leave your comments saying that, okay, the top of the frame is out of perspective. Okay, so what happens is by leaving out this kind of a comments, you are doing a great analysis of other students' drawings and you're leaving it. And in the process, you're also training yourself, because when you draw, maybe this time you may not do that kind of a mistake, but next time you may do that mistake. So you can learn from other students' works as well. Okay, so please try to access all the drawing questions and see how much you can uh, analyze. It is important that you have to basically upload a sketch, your sketch, to see the other drawings of other students. All right, like for example, and it also gives you great ideas in terms of, okay, how it can be done. See, first of all, they will not ask the same kind of questions. All right, if they ask a similar kind of a question, so you know, okay, probably I could do something like this, or I can improvise on it, and etc. etc. All right. um, okay, fine. So these are the three important things that I would wanted to tell you. Oh, the fourth one is again an important tool on DQ Edge. It is called revision tool. All the mistakes that you have done in the past, you can see everything in one place. I hope this is working fine. So let us say VSA. Oh yeah. Okay, so what it does is, for example, I'm taking visual spatial ability. So it shows me all the questions that I have attempted in visual spatial ability in different mock tests. Okay, And you can also select different categories within that, and it also shows whether I got that wrong or right. So it becomes easy for me to navigate through that question and correct my understanding. So this is a super quick way of revising your your questions that you got wrong. So these 4 tips, guys, please follow, and you would definitely do a great job in the final exam. Or let's see, there are certain paid version, there are certain features that are available for paid, certain features available for free. So it is up to you what you want to choose and practice. All right. So, but these are the features that are available, but it is definitely worth all the DQ students. I'm sure you're using all these features. Okay. And you can definitely see great improvement in your preparation and the final score as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so any specific questions that you have got? So Soham is asking, sir, I have attempted UCEED papers 3 out of 3 times. Can we please get a few more tries to improve? Yes, Soham, we'll try to speak with the technical team and we'll see if we can increase the number of attempts. All right, we'll do that, Soham. Okay. So any other questions that you have, any other concerns that you have, or anything that is bothering you at the last minute, please please do share. Da Vinci is saying, sir, if there is a question which is wrong in the paper, will we gain those marks only if we had attempted the question, or will everyone be given those marks? The regular rule is, if there is a question either drafted poorly or doesn't have a right answer or etc., they will give the marks for every student, all the students, whether they have attempted or not attempted. So that is the strategy that they take, because see, you would have tried to genuinely answer it, but because the question is wrong, you did not find the answer in that, so you left the question. So because you have left the question, they cannot consider that you have not attempted, right? So if there is a wrong question, the benefit will be given for every student. Okay. So are there chances of for asking human figure sketching in UCEED? Okay, so one thing I would want to tell you that UCEED, NID, NIFT, architecture, NATA entrance exams, these are all creative exams, especially when it comes to the questions. They may completely ask something that you have not even imagined. Okay, every year there would be some twist or the other, so please be prepared for the surprise. Okay, don't go to the exam and thinking that okay, whatever you have studied will only come. There is 99.9 chance that they will ask completely different what you have not what you have studied so far. They will not ask anything from that. Okay, so but your preparation so far will definitely help to answer whatever kind of a question they ask. Okay, so please go to the exam with an open mind. Okay, they can also do some kind of a last minute changes, etc., to the pattern. It's all in their hands. Okay. Pulkit Kishore is asking, sir, do we need to carry colors like paints or color pencils? Please carry color pencils and pastels. Don't carry watercolors or alcoholic markers. No, please don't carry that. Just use the dry colors like uh, pencils and crayons. That is fine. Okay. G Sketch is saying, sir, in the last 6 days, where to focus on polishing strength or learning weakness? So G Sketch, very, very interesting question. My personal preference will be on focusing on my weakness, because I know my strengths. Now, when I have shown you the danger, the three topics, right? So the danger topics, the master topics, okay, and the orange color ones, right? So the master topics I have mastered anyway. All right, you spend another 60 hours on it, it's not going to make any difference. But even if you put your 5 minutes on danger topics, it will make a huge difference, right? So I would want all of you to focus on your weaknesses. First of all, focusing on weakness will help you in a couple of ways. One is by knowing what your weakness is, and by avoiding or answering those questions carefully, you can avoid negative marking. Every mark lost is a mark gained, right? So your first attempt is to minimize your mistakes in the exam. So I would suggest you focus on your weaknesses and do whatever is needful to improve work on those weaknesses to turn them into your strengths. That is what I would suggest. G sketch. Is it necessary to know anatomy for drawing human figures? Um, Knowing anatomy definitely helps. There would be definitely questions on the movement, right? Like the animation sequence. They'll give a sequence of pictures and they say organize them in the right sequence, right? Okay, of movement of a person or a bird or an animal or something like that. So understanding of human anatomy would help you in answering these objective type questions, and of course in drawing the human figures as well. Okay. uh, Yeah, the surprise is overwhelming, but that is how the field is, guys. Especially the design, architecture, fashion fields are full of surprises. You get projects, you deliver, you get so much of surprise back, and you should be like willing to face the surprises, right? So I think they're also adopting that in the exams. Um, yeah, so Sean is saying don't waste time in coloring unless they ask you to color. Absolutely right. Unless they ask you to color, don't spend too much of time on coloring. Focus on your basic sketch and ensure that the sketch is legible in the sense it can be seen. Okay. Um, okay. They give rough paper. Yes, they give rough paper. All right. Are the sheets we get for sketching just regular A4 sheets? No, they are thicker sheets like chart paper. Okay, and they are little bigger than the A4 sheets. Dheeraj, I hope that answers your question. Abhilash Datta, can we place the rough sheet on computer screen? So uh, you can. You can also use your hall ticket to do that. All right. So I would, yeah, you can. So you want to take measurements or do some comparisons, etc. You can definitely do that. Okay. Right. Can scales be used? I would suggest, Tamim, to avoid using scales. In fact, this is what I recommend to all my students. Whatever you want to do, please do it in freehand. If there is a kind of a measurement, of course, you can use scale for measuring stuff. But if it is for drawing or sketching, do not do a straight line with a scale. No, it looks bad, and they would not appreciate. Do it with freehand. There's a beauty of drawing stuff in freehand. The inconsistencies in the line would make the line look beautiful. All right, so try to do that. Abhinav is saying, sir, what if hand sweats? It's a good question. So what we do is, I used to do this. I mean, I always draw from top to bottom, um, and I always keep a hall ticket between the answer sheet and my hand, between the hand, right? So the hall ticket will sandwich in between, and it kind of does not leave any pencil marks or the watermarks on the sheet. Okay, or you can also use a handkerchief. So That way you can definitely, okay. Do we have to carry our corona test to exam hall, Aditi? It's a fantastic question. I do not know the protocols, what they have asked. They would definitely give you a sheet of protocols to follow. Please kindly follow that protocol. Okay. Abhinav, sir, can we use pigmented pens? You can use pigmented pens or basically or kind of a gel pens. Okay, as long as it is not a sketch pen, it is fine, because what happens is the sketch pen has got some kind of a liquid on the tip, and uh, sometimes the paper absorbs it and it kind of doesn't give you crisp lines. All right. Uh, Tamim, when I do freehand, it looks weird. Practice, Tamim, practice. You have 70 hours. Practice. Um, Okay, so whether pen can be used or a pencil can be used, I would strongly recommend you to follow the instructions given in the paper. In the question paper, especially the UCEED and SEED question papers are very, very detailedly given, the questions, okay? In fact, they'll also give you the evaluation criteria, saying that, okay, this question will be evaluated on criteria X, Y, Z, etc., right? So read the question carefully and follow those instructions nicely. Okay. Daddy, yes. Go to park. Okay. All right. So, any other questions? Sean, would you like to add something here?
Yes, Umesh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so what I would like to add is yes, you can also use these fine tip pencils, pens, which is like point 1, 1 mm tip to highlight some borders and things like that. They really make some of your sketches stand out, so you can use them. Students have used it in the past, and if you're using some high quality, what do you call? Uh, sketch, what do you call, brush pens. Students have used them in the past and they have worked, but you got to be very careful not to get a company that's low quality where it'll smudge. But it, but if you're in doubt, don't use that. Okay, unless you have used them in past some company. Yeah,
Yeah, there is a question from Dheeraj. He's asking, would you suggest using the 30 minutes in coloring, or are grayscale sketches enough to fetch good marks?
no,
30 minutes in coloring? You get 30 minutes to answer the question. How can, I mean, yeah. See, as I told earlier, give due importance to the basic sketch and ensure that the sketch is legible. So that's number one. And you don't have to color the entire sketch. If you want to highlight certain parts of the sketch, only minimum areas you can probably color with one single color, just to give focus or importance to that particular area. And also look at the instructions if they're asking you to color the sketch or not. If they say, sometimes they'll say do not color the sketch, and please kindly do not color the sketch. So following the instructions, reading them carefully is very, very important. Okay. Yeah.
yes. So, unless they have specifically mentioned a color the sketch, don't do that, because I would suggest you rather spend your time on detailing, adding foreground, middle ground, background, putting in more shade, shadow, texture. Spend your time doing all that. That is of more. That adds more value.
Yeah. And Soham is asking, sir, will we get an extra drawing sheet if we smudge or mess up the first sheet? Soham, I don't think you'll be given an extra drawing sheet. I don't think so, because it comes as part of the booklet.
Yeah. So don't take anything. Don't take anything that could smudge it in the first place.
Yeah. And erasing also, be careful when you're erasing. I kind of seen so many students ripping off the paper when they're erasing with a lot of passion. Okay.
Dheeraj Gowda, I hope we answered your question. Okay, I understood what you've said with your question. I hope you answered it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, great. So I think, Sean, can we close the session?
Yes, we can.
All right, guys. So please do follow the suggestions, tips, and etc. that we are giving. Okay, please go through the previous videos. Exactly 3 months before, we had done one webinar on 120 days strategy for UCEED seed exam. If you have time, please go through that. We have multiple webinars in between, giving a lot of tips in terms of how to work on your aptitude and your theory, your sketching, and all of that. Please go through them, and please use DQ Edge, um, and be cool. Follow the 4 tips that I have given you, right? And at any point of time when you're clear what you should be studying next, what questions you should be avoiding, all right? And focusing on your weaknesses and improving your weaknesses in this 70 hours of time that is available now. Okay. If you do follow all of these, you will be cool. Do enjoy your exam. Forget about the result. Result will come whatever it has to be. But you give your 100%. Your focus should be on giving your 100% in the exam. Okay, with a lot of care. Okay, please do the exam nicely, and you will definitely do very good job, and you'll have great results. Okay, so all right. So with that note, we would wish you all the best. Happy Sankranti, and have a great time and a great future. All right. All the best, all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also all the best. Don't forget to go through that. Once again, I've pasted that information on the chat box. Those are the last year's toppers who have given a lot of tips. Please go through that video, will be very helpful. Okay, so the name of that video is the last chat that I've posted. All the best, everyone, and enjoy your uh, exams, especially the drawing part of it. Good luck.